Check, check. Check, check. Tell you, it wouldn't be a Tuesday Night Live without some technical difficulties. Hi, everybody. Hello, April. Hi, Karen. Hi, Jess. Feel free to say hi, everybody, if you're there. Let's connect. Whew. There's a lot going on right now, a lot in the world. Yeah, and I just wanted to honor that. I wanted to hold some space for all that. I, like most of you, have kind of realized that everything that's going on in Israel at the moment is kind of it's in my nervous system. I am Jewish by birth, but that's not why, per se. But just seeing people hurting people based on beliefs, based on narratives, based on histories, based on forgetting who we are, what we are, forgetting humanity, forgetting that we're all in this together. What is happening is not new. And it just so happens that this current happening is covered by the media. But these things are happening every day in different parts of the world, many that we don't really hear about. The United States' own military does horrible things to people around the world, as always. There is no innocent side in the bigger picture. And in the smaller picture, we are all innocent. And nobody deserves any of this. And there's a lot of sadness and a lot of grief and a lot of anger and a lot of pain and a lot of heaviness. And something that I notice often with social media and the news in general is a sense of helplessness and powerlessness and overwhelm, that there's things happening in places that I can't do anything about. And yet here I am, forced to reckon with them. People doing things that don't agree with my values, things that I don't do because I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to feel the pain of others. I don't want to feel both that I'm hurting anyone, or I don't want to feel that anybody is hurting. And yet here I am, having to still feel and process that, the acts of others. The truth and the illusion of interconnection, that we truly are connected, that we truly do all feel each other's pain. And simultaneously, again, us having to emotionally reconcile, come to terms with, feel the acts of others against others, things that aren't even happening here. And what does one do besides feel? Feel the pain, feel the grief, feel the rage, feel the frustration, feel the sadness, feel the helpless and the hopeless feelings. And, we can protest and we can write letters and we can buy guns and we can do all the things. And yet humans seem to continue just to be humans. This is, if you look back over human history, we do things to each other continuously, with no apparent end in sight. We perform acts, both big and small, of violence, of ignorance, of pain, of greed, of dehumanization. We, if we look closely, would see that we're all guilty of this to some degree. While I was in the monastery, we had a monk visit us. His name was Claude Anshin Thomas, and he used to do peace walks. And he walked like the Israel-Palestine border, and he walked the US-Mexico border, and he went to these points of conflict in the world and tried to just work with it and sit with it. And, he worked often with Bernie Glassman. If you don't know who he is, look him up. They used to go to concentration camps in Germany and have, the descendants of Holocaust survivors sitting with the descendants of Nazis, and in the concentration camps for a week-long meditation retreat where they would feel and they would share and they would connect and they would process. And these ongoing dialogues and these ongoing healing processes would keep coming to light. Something he told me, he said, a concentration camp first exists in the human heart. Any place within your own heart that you have hatred, intolerance, ignorance, any place within you that is dehumanizing another through judgment of any kind, that is the seed. That is the seed that, when grows, becomes something like that. And although you cannot do anything about the concentration camps, you can do something about those seeds within yourself. To realize if there's any seeds within yourself that you have been watering, to allow those seeds to die off and find ways to completely work against that part of us that wants to dehumanize, that wants to separate, that wants to judge, that wants to enact mental and emotional violence on each other, physical violence, because we feel like it's fair or just or deserved. This inner work is difficult. It's easier to fight externally. It is easier to play the tit for tat game, or to try to play the politics game, or to go and protest in the streets and to yell at people on your social media. And it's all has its place, and it's all important in ways. Things need to be seen, voices need to be heard. That is also how change happens. Alongside external actions, what is needed more than ever is internal actions, is the internal ability to see how we are contributing, even in our local environments, in our communities, in our families, in our relationships, how we are also embodying energies that are dehumanizing, energies that are not acknowledging the hearts, the minds, the souls, the feelings of the other. Something that Jack Kornfield, who was a teacher that I followed for a while, would say is that, when you get down to it, when we get down to these lines of us and them, we start to realize there is no them. there is only us. There is you and another version of what you could be if you were born into that family, if you were born into that country, if you were born with those views. Thich Nhat Hanh has a poem called Call Me by My True Name. He, if you don't know, is one of the most famous Zen masters of all time, one of the most famous monks ever. Recently passed away. He was nominated by Martin Luther King Jr. for the Nobel Peace Prize. So if you can imagine what kind of person Martin Luther King Jr. would nominate for the Nobel Peace Prize. Thich Nhat Hanh was a Vietnamese refugee who dedicated his life to peace, to practicing Buddhism in action. He would sit in the monastery and hear the planes flying over, dropping bombs. And he's like, I can't sit here and meditate while people are suffering. This doesn't make sense. So he would go out and engage. It's called engaged Buddhism. He would actively work towards peace. And one day news came to him of, as the Vietnamese were fleeing, and these boats, they're called the boat people. So the Vietnamese would get these boats and try to kind of secretly get a boat. And, the government, the communist government at the time, they're making sure nobody's leaving and stuff. So you would have to very secretly get a boat, and, you'd pay somebody under the table for it. Maybe that person just runs off with your money. You never see them again. Maybe that person goes and tells the overseers that you're trying to escape, and then they'll come arrest you and they'll keep your money, right? But maybe the person's trustworthy and you can actually get a boat. So now you have this boat, and now you have to slowly start stealing gas to put into that boat. You can't take too much or else they'll catch you. So you have to put little bits of gasoline at a time over a week or so or more. And then finally the day comes where you have to also secretly tell the people who are going to come on the boat with you that we're going on a boat, hoping that none of them are going to tell on you. And then in the middle of the night, you all secretly sneak to that boat, not being seen, get into that boat, push it into the water, not being seen, turn on the engine and try to make it out past the waves without being caught or shot. So many of the Vietnamese people trying to escape, they were already caught in one of these steps. My own teacher at the monastery, a Vietnamese monk, he told us that they attempted many times to escape and were imprisoned a few times. Sometimes people ran away with the money, and finally, they got a boat and did all the things and got a boat and started the engine. We're going out, and the police heard it and started shooting at them in the dark, and they could only get enough gas to get out. And then eventually they got hit with the waves and they're out of gas, and the waves just pushed them back into shore. They all got imprisoned. So eventually, when people were lucky enough to make it through and fulfill all of these steps without being seen, caught, or shot, now they're out on their boat in the middle of the ocean with no gas. And then they would just have to sit and float and wait. So many Vietnamese people died in this way, just in these huge boats filled with people floating in the middle of the ocean, trying to escape, but escape into nothing. Some people were rescued. Some people were floated to another country or were picked up by a UN boat or whatever. But something that would also start happening is that some of the poorer people from Thailand, they would get in their own boats and they would go out and they would turn into pirates, and they would see all of these helpless Vietnamese people sitting out there. So they would go out and find these boats of Vietnamese people, and they would also assault them and abuse them and kill them and rob them. And Thich Nhat Hanh, hearing about this and hearing about some extremely brutal cases of this happening, it arose this rage within him and this heartbreak within him. And he, as a monk, was at this crossroads where he, on one hand, was so angry at what was being done to his people and just the inhumanity, the acts that people could do to each other, while simultaneously trying to reconcile with the fact that as a monk and even as a person, we're supposed to love each other and we're supposed to work for peace. And he sat with this duality. And eventually, the two came together in a realization. And he said, if I was born in Vietnam, if I was born in Thailand, right? If I was born somewhere else, I would be different. If I was born in the poor slums of Thailand, I probably would have become a pirate too. I probably would do the same thing that they were doing. I wouldn't know any better. That depending on the conditions that formed me, the place I was born, the way I was indoctrinated, the experiences that I had, the nationality, the religion, we like to hold ourselves as being better than or more virtuous than or more clear than, and saying, I could never, I would never. But the truth is, if we were born in somebody else's circumstances, if we had made their set of experiences, if we had their education, if we had their exact same conditions, we would very likely be doing the same thing that they did. We just wouldn't know. We wouldn't know any better. We would think that that was right. We would think that that was the right thing to do. And so in this poem, Call Me By My True Name, Thich Nhat Hanh went deeply into this theme and just said, I am the Thai pirates. I am the Vietnamese boat people. I am the governments oppressing the people. I am the people getting oppressed. I am all of it. I am both of it. There is no them. There is only us. When we talk about working towards peace, this is, I think, the main, if not even potentially the only principle, is the recognition of what we share, the recognition of our humanity, the recognition of our hearts that want safety and love, to our nervous systems that all feel pain, to our inherent value just because we're here and we're humans and we are all deserving of love and respect. Just because we were born, you would never look at a baby and say that one doesn't deserve to be loved. You would look at a million babies and each one, you would say, what a beautiful freaking thing that is. That child deserves to be loved and taken care of. So opening up this heart of ours to love ourselves, to love each other. And ourselves is an interesting one, because if there's others that are worthy of hate, that means that there's also parts of ourselves that are worthy of hate. If there's others that are worthy of judgment, that also means there's parts of ourselves that are worthy of judgment. This is in the big picture and the small picture. If you think that any of your qualities, any of your traits, any of the parts of you, by possessing those parts, make you unworthy of love and of respect, then you'll also project that out to others. And you will always live in a state of judgment. You will always live in a state of separation. You will always think that love is conditional. We need to transcend that for any of this to work. We need to open up to a bigger potential. For those of you familiar with apartheid in South Africa, Nelson Mandela, who was imprisoned, when he was released from prison and then he was asked to step in a position of government, He had the opportunity to say, we're going to take all of the police and all of the people who were enforcing apartheid and all of the people who committed violence against the South Africans. And he could have done anything he wanted to them. He could have killed them. He could have imprisoned them. They could have tortured them. And nobody would have said a thing. It would have been deserved. But instead, he did something called the Truth and Reconciliation Act. And he held these councils, and if people came forward and confessed in a room full of peers, full of citizens, if they confessed to the crimes they committed, they would be forgiven. He saw that continuing violence, he saw that continuing the retribution, continuing revenge, continuing eye for an eye violence, there would never be healing, that it would continue like that forever. And by having to confess that which one considered unforgivable, for one to have to confront one's own actions in front of other humans, to have to humanize one's victims and humanize oneself as the perpetrators, was one of the ways that he began healing the traumas of what had happened there. The recognition that violence creates more violence. Revenge creates more revenge. The endless cycles. It doesn't bring us anything to argue about right or wrong. Who started it? Who did what? It's endless. And everyone has good points, and everyone has bad points, and everyone's innocent, and everyone's guilty. And there comes a time where we together need to find a way as a human race, as one race, the human race, to shift something deep in ourselves, deep in our paradigms, deep in our world, deep in our cultures and our families, to prevent the continuation of violence towards each other, to prevent the continuation of intolerance, of hatred, of seeing somebody as an enemy. Even on a smaller scale, I see this playing out in sporting events, right? Team versus team, side versus side. These mentalities, which come back to tribal mentalities, and at some point they were maybe necessary for survival, and even they're fun in some way, even they give a sense of purpose. My team, my side winning, beating the other team, sense of pride. Gangs in the streets of LA. We can see a lot of similarities and a lot of repeating patterns. At the end of the day, it just comes down to, what do we want? What do we want? Ultimately, we all want peace. Ultimately, we all want a sense of being settled. Some people think things will be settled when everybody is my religion. Things will be settled when all of these people are gone. Things will be settled when, if, then, when, if, then, when. What if? I love the John Lennon song, Imagine. Imagining there's no countries, no religions, imagining that there's nothing to fight about, imagining that we're just here together as people, seeing each other as people, just doing this thing, Life is hard enough already. Life is confusing enough already. There's enough going on without all these extra senses of separation, of tribalisms, of nationalisms, religions against religions. Believe whatever the hell you want to believe. Who cares? Who cares? So as we hold all of this at once in our hearts, as we hold this in our nervous system, willingly or unwillingly, I invite you to take a few deep breaths, to close your eyes. Connecting into the space around us, the field of energy that connects all things, that unites us all. Taking a few breaths, feeling into this field of energy around us. If you'd like, you can even lift your hands up, imagining that you're feeling past your fingertips. You're just feeling an energy field around you. And just breathing, feeling into this field. Creating a new reality requires us to remove, to release the old reality. Creating a new vibration requires us to release the old vibration. And I invite you to begin by connecting to your heart. And connecting to whatever is in your heart that needs to be felt. Any grief, any sadness, any overwhelm, any burden, ever angry. Just connecting to whatever you feel and getting into that feeling. We don't need to feel it to heal it. We can feel it to feel it. To get with the feelings that are difficult, to get with the feelings that are painful, to get with the feelings that are scary, that are overwhelming, that are heavy. To get with the feelings that we're pushing away and resisting, the ones that make us feel sick, to the ones that make us want to collapse on the ground crying. To the ones that tell us that we've had enough, that this is all so much. To the parts of us that just desperately want this place to be a place of love. To be a place of warmth and friendship and community, to be a place of support and care. Part of us that knows that life is supposed to be easier, it's supposed to be more connective, it's supposed to be more fun. It's supposed to be lighter. It's supposed to be simpler. It's supposed to be easier. Something in us knows that other reality. We've known it since we were children. Some of us have forgotten, some of us are still fighting for it, some of us have found ways to create it. Some of us have had to numb ourselves out to function as adults in this world. Connecting back to your deepest truths, who you really are, what you really want. That which is beyond words, beyond concepts, beyond ideas. That which freely and naturally wants to bubble from your heart. That which all children know. Even a lot of animals know. The wish for safety, the wish for connection, the wish to play, to enjoy, to have joy, to feel safe and seen and cared for, cared about, valued, appreciated, to connect to the beauty and wonder and awe of this earth, to feel honored that we can share this with each other, with other people. We clap our hands together and we rub our hands until our hands get warm. Warming up your hands, rubbing your hands together, warming them, creating an energy field. Pulling the hands a little bit apart, almost like the distance, as if you're holding a baseball between your hands. Allowing your hands to just gently pulse in and out, towards and away from each other, like you're playing a small accordion. And just seeing if you can feel anything between your hands that feels dense or light, warmth, tingly, magnetic. You can even roll your hands around in circles as if you have a ball between your hands and you're just rolling it in circles. So just gently charging up this ball of energy. Your hands can slowly get bigger as you roll this ball around. You can get to the size of a basketball, of a beach ball. And as you roll your hands around, moving your hands around this ball, again, just seeing what you can feel. You can feel warmth, tingling, density, vibration, magnetism. It's like it's this big bubble, this big ball of energy. And now we turn our hands forward towards the screen, just keeping your eyes closed, imagining that we are holding this ball of energy all together, that we are now holding one big ball together, one field of energy. For those of you from the Love Field Activators group, this is what we're talking about. We're holding this field of energy together. And as you breathe and relax, just feel how you're holding this field. Feel how other people are holding this with you. People that are present right now in this call, people that'll be watching in the future. Time and space don't exist in this place. We are holding this ball together, this energy field. And starting to call in any support you want, whether you call in God or Source, whether you call in Jesus or the Buddha, the angels, Great Spirit, the beings of light and love, whether you call in the ancestors, whoever you feel the most supported by, whoever our allies are in this place, in the places beyond, in all dimensions, the spiritual teachers, the great teachers of the past, present, and future, the great spiritual masters of the past, present, future, the great men and women and children who have held the vibrations to those beings who we don't even know the names of, maybe those beings who don't even embody a human form. All those beings serving the light, serving love, serving oneness, divinity, holiness. As we call them in to hold this ball with us, to support this field, we feel the field charging up. We feel it getting brighter, lighter, stronger. We can even allow this field to expand around us. Imagining that we're all sitting within this field. We're holding this field and we're sitting within it. We're all being held in this field together. Just feeling how we are all connected within this energy field. Just make believe, use your imagination. As we sit in this field, we're all channeling. We are channeling the field and we are sitting in the field. We are giving and receiving at the same time. We connect to all of the other people who are also in this field with us. We connect to those around the world who are also holding the same field, to those in the same field of prayer, to those in the temples and the monasteries and the caves, to those in homes and fields, to those in schools and churches, to those just doing their silent prayers by themselves in their homes, to those who are in their cars, for that is their only place, to those on trains and buses and planes, to those in front of their televisions, to those in their bedrooms, to those in nature, to all of those who are praying right now for the same thing, to all the prayers for peace, for world peace, for the healing of this world, for the ending of violence, for the recognition, the remembrance, the realization of our shared humanity, connecting to this field of prayers, calling this field of prayers into our field, feeling it, allowing it to flow into, through your body, vibrating all of the molecules within your system, channeling it out into your hands in this field we are holding together. And allowing this field to expand. And we see in the middle of all of us, the earth. Imagine the earth is floating, just the size of a normal globe like you'd see in your schoolroom. Floating in the middle of all of us, but it is the actual living earth. And as we are channeling, imagining that we are now channeling our lights into this earth, that the earth is slowly rotating in its natural speed, and we are channeling all around it in a big circle, all these beings, all this love, all these hands, all this light, blasting into this earth, channeling it. And imagining that it's going everywhere it needs, even into the earth itself, into the fault lines, down into the center of the earth, into its very core, as well as through the whole atmosphere into the sky, clearing away all the pollutions, all the plastics, all the animals who are struggling and suffering, connecting to all the plants, to the whole biosphere, the biofield of the earth, connecting to all of the animals, to those living peacefully, to those who are struggling, to those in human homes, to those who are running free, to those in the skies, to those in the ocean. And channeling this light to all of the humans, to all of the people, wherever they live. So small in this globe, connecting to them, channeling all of this love, this light, this energy into the world, into the earth. Wishing peace, wishing love, wishing safety, wishing healing, allowing it to go wherever it's needed. Visualizing your energy going wherever it's needed the most right now on this planet. Could be somewhere you know, it could be somewhere you don't know. It could be specific, it could be general, just allowing the energy to flow wherever it is needed to flow. Into the places, into all of the situations, into all of the people who are angry, who are hurt, who are wounding, who are filled with hate, flowing to all the people who are wounded, who are suffering, to the people who are prisoners, to the people who are holding them captive, to the people in governments, presidents, the militaries, to the civilians who are suffering and in pain, to those who have just lost ones they loved, to those who have just passed away. Sending this energy to the babies, to the children of this planet, to those who we have failed to protect. Sending this to the men and to the women who are struggling, who are lost, who have forgotten who they are, who have forgotten how to love, who have forgotten how to feel, who have been in survival mode for as long as they could remember, until it makes their bodies sick. To the elderly, to those who again rely on the help of others, to those who are alone, who have been neglected or forgotten, to those who are suffering and struggling, to those who need these prayers the most, whoever they are, wherever they are, whatever they are, over this entire planet, in this dimension or in others, sending this light, sending this love through all dimensions, through all vibrations, through all times, recognizing that time and space are illusions in this place, that in the dimension of healing, we can heal the past, we can heal the future, we can heal linearly, we can heal parallel dimensions, we can heal anywhere. Allowing this to flow, our energy is endless, boundless. It is a field which we are just tapping into and channeling. It is a field that can be received forever. Into this planet, imagine that this earth is just filling and filling and filling with this light, with this love, with this warmth, with this connection, with this friendship. That the earth is just filling with softness, with community. Allowing this earth to fill and fill with peace. Allowing peace on earth, in earth, through earth, around earth. Allowing our vibration to connect to all vibrations, allowing this to be the thing that shifts the tide, allowing the power of our vibration, the determination, the focus, the clarity of this vibration to, in this moment, shift whatever needs to be shifted. Understanding that these frequencies, these vibrations we are sending are doing things we could never imagine. There are actual situations on this planet that are shifting right now in real time because of the space we are holding. We will never see them, we will never know, but it is happening right now. Our vibration is contributing to the change, to the healing, to the peace. on this planet, allowing it to be so, allowing. The pains and the wounds to dissolve, to resolve, to release. Allowing this vibration to go wherever it is needed. Breathing. Just holding the earth in this light. Allowing everything to dissolve into light. Allowing yourself to fully dissolve into this light. Your body, your mind, your heart, your nervous system, everything dissolves into light, to peace. Taking some deep breaths. Slowly returning to the body, to the space, to yourselves. Feeling a sense of gratitude. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Karaniya mata kusalena yantam santam padam abhisamiche. Sako juche suvacho chasa mudu anatimani. Santu sakoche subaroche apakicho chisala hukavuti santindrioche nipakoche apegabo kule suananu kiro. Nachekuram samachare kinchi yena vinyu pare upavadeyam sukhino vakemino hantu sabe satta bhavantu sukhitata yekechipana bhutati tasavata Anavasesa digava ye mahantava majimara sakanukatula titava ye vedita ye chedure vasanti avidure bhutava sambhave siva sabe satta bhavantu sukhitata Naparo param nikubete nati manyete katachinam kanchi pyaro sanapatiga sanya nanya manye seduka micheya matayatani amputam ayusa eke putam anurake Evam pisaba bhutesu manasambhavaye aparimanam metanche sabalokasmin manasambhavaye aparimanam udam maroche tirianche asambharama verama sapatan titan charani sinova Sayanova Yavata Savigata Mihido Etam Sati Mariteya Brahma Meta Vyaramidamahu Titenche Anupagama Silava Tasanena Sampano Kame Suvineya Gedam Nahi Jatuga Baseyam Punyareti Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Taking a deep breath. When you're ready, coming back fully and completely. You can stretch out your arms, your legs, bringing this energy through your nervous system. When you can, type in the comments about what you experienced, what came up for you, what you felt, what you saw, what you heard, what tonight meant for you. That chant was the Metta Sutta from the Buddha, the prayer, the teachings for loving kindness. That is a 2,500-year-old prayer teaching that is as close to the original language of the Buddha as we have. That prayer has been recited by monks for 2,500 years to send loving kindness across this earth, wherever it has been needed. So, taking a moment to just write in the comments anything you experienced, any prayers that you had, anything that came up for you. Greetings to my mother who is on this call. Thank you, April. Thank you for being here. Just hold space for a few minutes if anybody else has anything they'd like to share. Checking on my phone as sometimes the computer's a little bit lagging. Yeah, I want to thank you all for joining tonight, for being a part of holding this field of energy. Just remembering how powerful we are, that even a small group of us uniting, creating coherence between us. 10 coherent people is more powerful than 10,000 scattered energies. Kristen said she could feel the energy field being held and energy being sent out. My mom, Bonnie Krenzel, praying for peace on this earth. Stephanie said she pictures all of us outside of that earth sending healing in. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, thank you all for joining, for being part of this field. Please share this with anyone you think could benefit from it on your own Facebook walls or otherwise. I appreciate all of you dropping in tonight, doing this work for yourselves, for each other, for this whole planet. We're all in it together. Yeah. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday night for another powerful session. Feel free to send some donations over on through Venmo. I have my address up there. And as with every Tuesday night, it has been my honor and my pleasure to serve you, to be here in this beautiful worldwide virtual community. Hope to see you all again soon. Have a beautiful evening. Peace.